Welcome to the Fantasy Endgame. I'm going to talk fantasy baseball, sell high targets. These are guys that if you do have them, I think this is the time to flip them and get the maximum value you can in the trade market. Let's start out by talking about starting pitcher for the Texas Rangers. That is Martin Perez. All right, so Perez is somebody who, has been decent at times. He's kind of a pitch to contact pitcher, someone who doesn't put up huge K totals, not on a winning team lately, so kind of an afterthought, kind of a back-end rotation arm. And all of a sudden this year, he looks like an all-star. I mean, honestly, the numbers he's put up have been kind of ridiculous. A 1.42 ERA, and he just keeps putting up great start after great start. Here's the problem. How long can that really last? Honestly, not just the fact his ERA is so low. This is a guy for his career, and again, talking several seasons here, has a career 4.53 ERA. Not only that, but if you look at his Sierra, which is skilled independent ERA, that is usually a good measure of how a pitcher should be performing. It's 3.62. That means that he's overachieving by almost 2 full runs. And that sounds more like it. Even that is well below his career norm. Even with how great he is doing as far as helping your ratios, he's still not striking out a lot of batters. His strikeout rate is really low. He only has a 9.5% swinging strike rate. And again, for him, that's high. For everyone else, that is really low. He's somebody who's not going to help you in Ks. Really, probably going forward, not going to get you as many wins. And those ratios, they have to come up. So at this point, if someone believes that he's having, for some reason, an age 31 career breakout, hey, it's possible. Crazier things have happened. I'm not buying into it. I think you sell him now for somebody who is a certified ace, or at least close to it. Not sure what you can get on the trade market. Every league is different. But look, throw out offers and see who will bite. Speaking of career years, let's look at Ty France in Seattle. Out of all the names you got there, they're exciting young rookies like Julio Rodriguez, these big name free agents that they got, like guys like Jesse Winker, guys on the comeback like Kyle Lewis, and yet their best hitter has been Ty France, kind of a utility guy, journeyman, someone who has never really drawn a lot of interest. Last year showed some signs, and now this year, I think we have to say it's a full-fledged breakout. 347 is his average right now, 7 home runs and 36 RBIs, and that's the main thing, not just the insane batting average, but he's driving in a lot of runs and scoring a decent amount of runs too. Yes, it's got to regress. I don't think he's going to hit 347 over the course of the season. Look, he's still going to be a solid source of batting average, but he's playing above his head, and so when you have so many players who are struggling, and again, it always depends on your league, but you got like Ozzie Albies, who is what top 20 draft pick in fantasy, sometimes even a first round pick, and he is struggling right now. He's just not producing like people expect. And it's a guy who's struggling in the standings. He looks at Albies, he looks at France. He said, I'd rather have a guy who's producing. And maybe he flips for you. I've seen it happen. So you know what? If you have France, take advantage. Try to get somebody who will produce better second half numbers. Once he does go on a slump, it's going to hurt everything. So right now, see what you can get out of France. I think this is his absolute peak. He's even on fire this week. As we speak right now, again, we're a quarter of a way through the season. He's on fire right now. This is the time to see what you can get for him. All right, another guy who's on fire, but kind of expect it was going to happen is Trevor Story. Now the Boston Red Sox. Feels weird to say that. All right, so Story was just miserable throughout April, had a terrible start to the season, and then, of course, had that ridiculously hot week, and he's still doing pretty well, cooling off a little bit. What are we going to get from Story the rest of the season? If anything, it seems like a buy low candidate. Well, it's too late for that. You should have bought low before that hot streak. You don't want to get him right now in the trade market because now his value will be back to what it was preseason, which means people expect a top tier shortstop. Why am I saying to sell him now? Well, there are a lot of problems hidden behind what you've seen lately in the last couple of weeks. His batting average on the year is 220, and that's because he's striking out at a career high 30.9% clip. Going to a different league, he's seeing some pitchers, a lot of pitchers for the first time, going to some parks for the first time. And that's harder for a hitter to adjust to, right? So we should have expected some sort of a transition here that would be problematic for him. I don't think he just all of a sudden magically solved all these problems. Okay, so now that people expect that his preseason value will be the same as what it was, so if you still think that you can trade him for somebody who visualizes him as this elite fantasy star, I say you go for it. I really don't expect Trevor Story to maintain what he's been doing lately. All right, a guy who's well past the peak of his career, but is having a late career resurgence is Adam Wainwright of the St. Louis Cardinals. Now, Wainwright had a really good season last year. Can't take that away from him. And he's kind of doing it again. It looks like he's performing just as well. A 2.75 ERA. If you look, that strikeout rate is not what you want, right? Obviously, that's going to happen when you're at an advanced professional baseball age, right? But it is getting to the point where he's almost going to be a liability in that category. 20% strikeout rate, it actually should be lower. He has the second lowest swinging strike rate among all pitchers who have thrown at least 20 innings. Only 6%. That means he's not getting guys to swing and miss at all. He's getting called strikes sometimes for strikeouts, but man, that number is going to get below 20% pretty soon. So that means you're just going to be left wanting and having to make up for that. All right, so a lot of people, again, because of his name, because his ratios look really good, but there might be some regression coming there because the ERA under 3, that's great, but his SIERA is 4.12. All right, so we could see it come up. Here's the thing too, if you look at the schedule, he has feasted off a really weak schedule early in the year. Of course, being in that division, getting teams like the Pirates, the Cubs, and the Reds, the worst offense in the majors this year, multiple times. He's also played teams like the Marlins. It's going to be easy to get those guys out. It's not going to be as easy. Like June, he actually still has it pretty easy, but in July, he gets teams like the Dodgers, the Blue Jays. All right, all of a sudden, these other teams like the Braves, that are going to be on the schedule, and we're going to see him blow up in a couple of starts. That's my prediction. So right now, Adam Wainwright, you're not getting superstar value for him in exchange, but at this point, I would sell before he starts to actively hurt your ratios. And then this one kind of pains me. Look, I've been a fan of Rowdy Tellez for a while, and it looks like it's all coming together this season in Milwaukee. Had that power binge, but it's over. It looks like the binge is over. He's only had 1 home run in the past 10 days. His batting average is down to 247. He's up to 10 homers in the season. So overall, when you look at the home run leaders and you see a guy like Tellez who's always had power, that's not a doubt, right? And his expected slugging this year, among the best in the league. His barrel rate among the best, slugging 631. I mean, all the numbers, if you look at his StatCast page, say he's having a great season, right? And power being, in a short supply this year, this looks like somebody that would be very valuable to fantasy teams. But you know what? He had his ups, and now he's coming back down to earth. It might be a little too late. I don't know if the window is completely closed here to sell high on him because, again, his season-long stats look really good, and the surface stats, everything behind it also looks strong to support it. But again, that's because of the small sample size. He's had this monster window of a couple of weeks where he was really good, and now that he's coming back down, I think it's time to try to trade him before he starts to continue to plummet down. Those are some of the players that I'd be looking to trade away right now if possible. You always want to maximize your return if possible. Don't sell for the sake of selling, but make smart trades and try to maximize value. That's what it's all about, getting ahead of the game while you can. It's a long season, so the better you can do in the second half, the better your chances of winning. All right, guys, that'll do it for today. Thanks for watching.